Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is the Manier Racing bucket seat and wheel stand combo. It's something I do want to point off right off the bat is that this is more than just a wheel stand. It does include, of course, the wheel stand. It includes a pedal stand, but it also includes the seat mount. So it's a really good combo. It's about the cheapest option you can get on Amazon, I believe, coming in around $350, depending on when you buy it. Of course, right now the whole market's kind of fluctuating, so it's really hard to tell. I believe I spent around $350 for the whole set, and then it does include the bucket seat. So it's a really, really good combination, about the cheapest you can get. So if you're watching this, I'm going to go ahead and jump off the bat and assume you're probably either a new person to the sim racing world, or you're just budget minded as it is. So if that is you, you're on a budget, or you're new and you're not trying to spend a whole lot of money, this is a great setup for you. If you're somebody that has something like a Fanatec, it's not going to be great for you. But then again, if you have like a Fanatec setup, you're probably not looking for that kind of entry level stuff anyways. So you can pretty much disregard this whole video and just leave it at that. Either way, the Logitech, everyone's favorite entry wheel, it works really great for it. Everything mounts up. You don't actually have to use the desk mount at all. It actually comes with hardware. You can just mount it via screws. So really nice solid mount to it. I really appreciate that. Now, I'm not going to say it's all positive. For what you're getting, this is the cheapest one on the market. So there's going to be some drawbacks there. Notably, it's a little wobbly. It's a little wobbly, I'm not gonna lie. I will include about a little short minute-and-a-half long clip of me playing dirt, and you can actually see some of that wobble. Now, I will say, when you are playing, you don't really notice it so much. But this is also where I'm going back to if you have something like a Fanatec. A Fanatec is gonna suck for this. I think the feedback is probably gonna yank you around a little too much, but either way, you can see right here, just me doing this. There's some definite wobble. I mean, I'm using just a couple fingers to do that. And, with a handbrake, you'll notice it as well. There's wobble all over the place. It's something you're going to feel. But, outside of that, for $350, which is, again, the cheapest option I've been able to find, I don't really have any complaints out of it. I think it's been really good, all things considered. The seat does recline back, it does slide forward, slide back, all those things, and there are bolts. If you want to adjust the lean a bit, you can do all of that. It is really good, and from my understanding, these are actually just normal aftermarket cheap car seats you can throw in a car at any point. So, I mean, it's the same ones you'll see in a lot of people's kind of budget cheap cars. But, I mean, it works. It does the job, they're cheap seats, and I wouldn't as much be inclined, I guess, to use it in an actual car. But for something like this, it's great, where you don't really have to worry about wrecking. So, as far as build goes, it's all, I believe, made out of thin aluminum. It's very easy to put together. If you've ever put something together, I would say of IKEA. And if you had any trouble with that, then, it may take you a little bit of time. Maybe pull out the instructions, but you'll be able to get it. If you are really proficient, I guess, at putting things from IKEA together, you're going to be very proficient at this as well. It's really not hard. A lot of it kind of explains itself, but from where it doesn't explain itself, the instructions do the job. Now, shipping time was really solid. I believe it came in within about a week, so everything came in very quickly. And I do think one piece, maybe the seat or the stand, whichever one, came in about a day later than the other, but again, it didn't really matter. And I'm only pointing that out because I did buy it as a bundle, and it did all come from Manier. So either way, though, I can't really complain about that. It all came very quickly. And when I started out using all this, I started out on my desk, and I hated it. I really hated playing from the desk. Now, I will say, it's not going to make you any faster. It's the number one thing I want to point out for a lot of people that are looking at something like this. Maybe you increase some kind of lap time in your games. It's not going to do that. That's not really a realistic thing to think. But it will really help with immersion. I will say, sitting in a seat, being able to lean back and adjust it to you, having everything mounted properly where it should mount for you, other than maybe the handbrake, and I'll get to that in 1 second, it really feels good. I'm currently playing on a 65-inch TV, and I want to change that up. I'm probably going to change it up to 332s or something along those lines. Either way, for what I am doing, and again, I'm doing this all in a budget-minded setup, because my normal PC setup, I put most of my money into that. So the budget-minded setup that I'm running with this is really, really fun. Now, for the handbrake though, and this is one big gripe I do have, this is a budget handbrake that I'll probably be doing a video on as well. It's about the cheapest handbrake you can get on the market as well. And I didn't actually have anywhere good to mount it. Ideally, I wanted it down here. You know, I am in the US, so obviously everything is going to be right-handed for the shifter, for the handbrake. So I want it on the right side, obviously. But there's nowhere down here to put it. I tried putting it on the shifter plate for a minute, but going back to the flimsiness, it did not work out well down there. So I had to put it up here where you mount the steering wheel. And it works fine. I mean, I mess with it all the time. I drive, you know, a lot in dirt. And so in dirt, I'm using my handbrake a lot and very aggressively. And it works fine, but that is just something to note, that if you want a, I guess, an ideal handbrake position for what it'd be like in your real car, then you're probably going to have to fabricate something yourself. I have tossed around the idea of doing that, but ultimately it didn't really matter that much to me. Now, you know, your use case may vary. You may want full immersion, and of course, you know, you're going to have to figure something out. That is not something they offer. You could potentially buy another one of these plates. They do sell these. I did contact them and ask. I believe they were something like $40, so it wasn't really worth it. You could get one of these, and there are screw holes here. You could just screw another one onto the other end, and then bam, pop it onto that, and there you go. But again, it just didn't really make sense for me to do that. Now, for $350, do I think it's worth it? Yeah. Depending on you, yeah. Kind of pros for it, I would say pros, it's really cheap. Cheapest one on the market. Also, I mean, it's a lot of customizability to it. You can adjust the tilt of the steering wheel plate. You can adjust the height of everything. You can adjust the length. You know, you can adjust the tilt of the pedal plate. You can adjust the height and the tilt of the the seat mount. You can adjust the tilt, height, angle, almost everything, the shifter plate. There's so much you can do to make it fit perfectly for you, or if you want to make it feel like your car. There's so much you can do with that, and I've got to really say, for the budget they threw into it, it is awesome. They did a really good job on that. So as far as pros go, that's the big pro. You know, the price and the adjustability are insane for what you're getting for the price. Now the cons. The cons, of course, I can't help but go back to that. The flimsiness and the build quality, it's really, really low, and it really shows. That, and I'm only going to gripe on this, and I'm only going to say it once. I'm not really going to hold them accountable for it. Quality control on parts. I was missing one singular bolt. Not a big deal. I can go to the hardware store and get that. It was one of the bolts for my seat, which, as you can see, there's some wobble on this side. That is why. It's because I'm missing that bolt. Now, again, I could just go to the hardware store and get it, but it's really not hurting me. I've still got 3 bolts in there, holding the steady to the sliders, so all things considered, it's not a big deal to me. Which, you know, I take the sliders here, you can see, all works just fine. But, you know, as far as quality control and that's really all I've got. Everything else was fine. You know, it's really weird to say when you think of the cheapest option on anything, the quality control seems fine, but it really, really does. I really can't make too many more complaints about that. As far as one more con, though, I would say, again, going back to my handbrake mounting situation, in the fact that I did think I could just get another one of these mounting plates and just pop it on. Going back to like $40 for another mounting plate, that was insane. I cannot fathom why it would cost that much, unless they're, you know, they just don't sell a lot of these, so they have to, you know, kind of make it to sell on things like that. That would make sense to me, you know, $40 for something that they're selling as a one-off, sure, but I can't imagine that they're doing that, so because of that, $40 for basically a piece of small metal is really, really insane to me. Either way, though, all things considered, I still have to give it all positive for the most part. You know, there's a couple little small complaints, again, biggest being that rattle, that shake, but that doesn't really bother me that much. Again, when I'm playing, I just don't notice it that much. for $350, I'd say it was a steal. This whole setup, what you're looking at right now, I want to say was pushing about $650. It's probably closer to $750, but either way, I'd say about $750-ish, $750-ish around that range for, shifter, steering wheel, pedals, handbrake, the mounting, and the seat. Probably about $750. And, I've seen a lot of setups push closer to $1,000, and I've seen a lot of setups that are pretty much just, you have your seat of whatever it is, and you've got your mounting setup, which is basically just this stand for, your steering wheel, your shifter, and your pedals, and that's fine, that's really all you need. But I wanted a little more immersion, and I wanted to look cool when people came into my office. So, this is what I got. But, again, that is the Meneer Racing wheel stand and seat. So if you have any more questions on that, feel free to shoot them. I will put the link to these ads where I bought them from on Amazon in the About section. And again, I'm going to end off this video with a short clip of me playing some dirt on it so you can see it, and mostly keep an eye on this piece. Keep an eye on this and kind of how it shakes around so you can get an idea of what I mean when I say that. It's not quite like insane, but it is there and it is noticeable when you pay attention. So, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the next video.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 34 left, to 50. Keep right to the jump, baby, into 6 left. 30. Slow 4 left, into unseen 1 right. Opens. Keep right to the 80. Unseen 4 left. 30. 5 left. 60 over bumps. Caution, 1 left unseen. Into unseen hand in right narrow. Into 5 left. 30. 4 right.